Hello and good afternoon. This is Vihil Vigil, your International Women's Empowerment Business and Professional Development Coach. And I'm super excited to be jumping back on again live today as we continue the International Women in Business Mastermind focused on May Money Talks. So all month long, I've been posting videos and recorded interviews with some really phenomenal women who have presented on various aspects of money management, wealth growth opportunities, and how to really ensure that you are doing the best that you possibly can for yourself, for your business, and for your family when it comes to wealth building and money management. And we had already posted today of a phenomenal speaker who presented in our May Money Talks Mastermind previously, and I reshared her post. So please watch her video, give us a like and some comments on the YouTube channel. Would love to interact and engage with you. But I wanted to come on live and just talk a little bit about something that sprang to mind this morning. I was attending my little girl's 5th grade elementary school graduation ceremony. So she is 11 years old and is getting ready to go into middle school. And it reminded me of something that her and I have been working with one another on that I thought was really important that we didn't talk about yet in the May Money Talks Mastermind program here. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to bring that up. And the comment, let me see if I can type that. I guess I can't type that while I'm live. Okay. So what I wanted to really talk about was how are we building the financial future of the young people in our lives, whether it's your children, whether it's your nieces, your nephews, or someone that you care for, or just simply the young people in your life. What are you doing to help enhance their financial knowledge? How can we increase the financial literacy of our children? Now, if you think back to when you were graduating 5th grade, or when I think back to when I was graduating 5th grade, I definitely did not have a financial education. It was not a part of the curriculum. We were in math. We studied all of the things, science and reading. And fortunately, we still had art and PE when I was in elementary school, but we never talked about financial literacy for kids. There was always, you get an allowance, and what are you going to do with your allowance? Are you going to save it? Are you going to spend it? But there really wasn't a deep conversation surrounding building my financial knowledge as a young child. And that's something that I've been working hard to do for my own little girl. So I wanted to touch base a little bit today to ask you, what are you doing to increase and enhance and create your the financial literacy of the young people around you, whether it's your own child, whether it's a young person in your life? What is it that you are doing? And if at the present you're not doing something, that is okay. Here's some ideas that I wanted to share with you. There are a lot of posts that go around on social media that ask, what would you tell your younger self? Or what would you tell your 16-year-old self? Or what would you tell your 18-year-old self if you could go back and talk to them in regards to financial management and what to do with their money? The first thing I always say is I would have told my earlier self is, to start investing in property. If you are already working and, you have a sense that you have a sort of an income, how are you spreading that income out over, what it is that you're doing? You get your paycheck from your 15-year-old job or your job that you have when you're 15 years old. And what do you do with that money? Do you immediately go buy some new shoes or some new clothes or makeup or get your nails done? And that's definitely what I did. But what if I would have done it differently? What if I would have had the opportunity to sit down with a financial professional at that young age so they can help me decide on a financial plan so that as an adult, I would already have been investing in the well-being of my future? So I have talked before about how much I love Carrie Schwab Pomerant's book, How to Talk to Your Family About Money. And as I was doing some research today, she wrote an article probably a while ago on financial literacy for kids. Let's see. Oh, it wasn't too long ago. So it was last November, or two years ago, November. And the topic of the conversation, and I will post the link to the article, is 9 tips for teaching kids about money. And I wanted to share this with you guys so that you can just sort of absorb and see what you think about this. And if you really want to dive in and have a conversation on speaking with someone, I would love to be someone to help guide you and connect you with a financial professional if you don't already have one in your own life. So here we go. So how do you foster financial independence and financial literacy among young people? And 2 Schwab experts share their tips on this. And we think about this in the context of what was it like when we were younger? What was it like when we were, in 5th grade, getting ready to go into middle school? And what were our thoughts surrounding finance and money and wealth? We either knew that our family had money or we knew that we didn't. And that's pretty much the extent of the financial education that I had when I was younger, to no fault of the adults in my life, but that's just the way things were. Kids weren't really taught financial literacy from a young age, and that's something that I am dedicated to changing. I'm wanting to put more context out into the world and more encouragement to the phenomenal women of our circle here at the Empowerment Empire, is to ask you, what are you doing to help further the financial literacy of the beautiful children and young people in your life today? So let me just read this briefly. Think back to your education in personal finance. Did you learn about money management at home, at school, through trial and error? How did you learn? So it's really up to us to ensure that our kids have the opportunity to get an early financial education. So these are some of the topics that the article presents. When your children are little, number 1, introduce the value of money. Talk to them about how they could earn an allowance and where that money could potentially go. So oftentimes kids will make different choices with their own money than they will with someone else's. Prime example. So my daughter has $50. We go to the store and she wants a Robux card. She wants to get money so she can continue to buy little things in her game and enjoy doing what she loves. But when I ask her to spend her $50 on her Robux gift card, then she's like, oh, wait, nope, I don't know, Mom. Why don't you buy it for me? You should buy it for me, Mom, and I want to save my own money. A little light should go off in your brains as you hear that statement, because of course, at that moment, my daughter understood the value of money in her own right. She understood that when it was her money, she got to decide where to spend it. But if it was my money, it wasn't really coming out of her pocket. And this is my point to how can you really impress upon your children the value of the money that they earn? And it's by really asking them to spend their own money on things that they want, and just kind of watch what happens with their little brains and their light bulbs and see how those things, go off. Emphasize saving is number 2. So number 1, introduce the value of money by, introducing the concept of allowance and the value and how they can save it or spend it or give it away as donations. Oftentimes people will do that with their church. They'll do that with a local community nonprofit organization. We always like to donate to women and children's shelters. So consider those points when talking to your littles about how to spend their money. So number 2, emphasize saving. At some point, your kids are going to want things that exceed their allowance. So encourage them to save for those items. It teaches them the concepts of delayed gratification and a trade-off. She might want the $50 Robux card today, but if she saves her money, then in, say, a month, she can pay for 5 horse riding lessons. Instant gratification with playing her video game, or she can wait and have an awesome time at a whole month of horse riding lessons. So talk to them about the delayed gratification. Yes, you can have this right now, but if you save your money, then you can have this later. And what's more important to you? And then additionally, make a routine of setting aside a small portion of all of the money that they have. So say, for example, your little one graduates, elementary school like mine did this morning. So she'll get, a gift of cash. So what we always do is I take half of her cash and it goes into her savings account. And that might seem like a lot, but in the long run, she's been understanding and she's been seeing how her savings account has been able to grow and grow, because she already knows that she wants a truck when she gets her driver's license. She wants a big truck. So I'm like, well, that's going to cost. So we can spend $50 on Robux cards, or we can save 25 of that money, $25 of that half of what you've just been given, not of an allowance, but as a gift from someone. And let's put that money in the bank. And we could get more horse riding lessons. We could start saving for the car that you want in 5 years. Let's really think about these things. Introduce these long-term concepts when talking to your kids and the young people in your life about how they're going to spend their money, and introduce these concepts of, delayed gratification and what that looks like, what they could get for themselves, what they could purchase for themselves if they just wait a little bit longer. So number 3, introduce your little ones to investing. So once your kids have saved some money, you can consider opening a custodial brokerage account for your kids. You could help them purchase shares. You could help them purchase fractional shares or stocks or bonds. You could help them buy an educational bond that goes to benefit their school district. Introduce the concept of financial investing on a level in which they'll understand and which will make sense to them. Your school really needs this. They really need a new playground. So they're asking the community to invest in a bond, which will, allow the school to buy this great new playground. But you need to invest your money to help them pay for that playground in a financial product called a bond or a stock, etc. So break it down in a way that really makes sense to your little ones, and they can understand why investing in their community is good for them, is good for future generations, and ultimately will lead them to a financial return. And then you can talk a little bit more about financial returns as they, at their level. So when your kids get into being a teenager, then start talking about encouraging a summer job, encouraging them to do something that they love. I am not one to just say, go get the first job that you can get. I am a true believer in really sitting down with your young person, with your child, with your niece or your nephew, and finding out what they like. What is it that's going to be interesting to them to do as a job that they could get as they become a teenager. My daughter, for example, loves horses. She loves working on, her horse riding skills. So her trainer hires kids for the summer, and it's a job that she can have as a younger person. So how about encourage them, to do something like that other than go work at the local fast food place, which is probably a brutal introduction to the world of work. So really try to find something that they love. And it also teaches them that, when you become an adult and you start looking at a career opportunity that's going to pay you more money so you can buy the car, buy the house, go on vacations, that it's something that you love, and that you're not just dredging through a day-to-day job just so you can make that paycheck, but you're doing something that you actually love doing. So that's my little 2 cents on encouraging, your child to really consider what they love doing and helping them find a job in that industry, rather than just shoving them out into the world and say, go to the closest fast food place that'll hire you. Let's think a little bit more critically about how it's going to best benefit that individual person. So number 5. So number 4 was encourage a summer job. Number 5, introduce them to credit. Now, so many of us got into trouble as teenagers when we got our first jobs and we were able to get that credit card and didn't really understand how it would affect us in the long run. So it wasn't really about, I got this car, I can go buy a $200 pair of shoes and pay for them later. The conversation should be more like, how can you build positive credit? How can you make sure that before you're 25 years old, you have a 900 credit score? Like, let's approach the conversation that way, as opposed to, yes, here's a credit card. You can go ahead and go buy those shoes that you want and pay them off for, the rest of your life. Or let's talk about having the conversation on how to build positive credit. It's something teenagers can absolutely understand if you break down the conversation. And if you're not sure how to have this conversation, go to your local bank, go to your financial professional that you trust with your money and ask them, would you have a conversation about credit with my teenage person, and really help to infuse that excitement on, if I build amazing credit, when I buy a house, I pay less for it actually than someone who hasn't built great credit, even if we're buying the same exact house. So if you explain it situationally, it's a really great opportunity for young people to understand in the long run how they can financially invest their money in a smart way, how to build smart credit. We don't want our kids to make the same financial mistakes that so many of us did, where we just got the credit cards and we racked them up, even though we only made minimum wage at our community job. Let's not do that to our kids, to the future generations of young people around us. Let's teach them about building good credit. And then we could talk to them about credit cards and taking out loans and lines of credit. But I think the conversation should really start with what an amazing opportunity it would be if you had phenomenal credit, and what is a credit score and how that affects your life and everything that you buy. So also, number 6, consider a Roth IRA. I know most people don't consider IRAs for their young people, but you absolutely can consider a Roth IRA for your kids. Once your kids have earned income, they can start contributing to an individual retirement account, an IRA. And if you consider a Roth IRA for your young saver, Roths are funded with after-tax dollars, but withdrawals in early retirement can be entirely tax-free. So if you fund these accounts early with their income and thus their tax rate, which is still very low, your kids could absolutely benefit from decades of potential compound growth and tax-free income in retirement. Imagine what your life would look like if you started saving for your retirement when you got your first job at 14 or 15 years old. Imagine what that would look like today. Let's do that for our kids. Let's give them that opportunity to start contributing to a retirement plan the moment that they have earned income. I mean, why not, right? I'm sure those Robux gift cards and those pairs of shoes and those trips to the mall or trips to, Amazon.com and loading up their carts is phenomenal, and it's awesome. And I know that your kids are going to love it. However, what would it do for them if in the long run they had started saving for a retirement account when they were 15 years old? They would be probably multimillionaires before they could even, graduate college, if they were to really start saving and really understanding the concept of compound interest. And something that we all can really, remember and learn for ourselves as adults. Okay, number 8, we're almost through. Encourage them to stay invested. Talk about the long-term benefits of leaving their money in a interest-bearing account that actually fits their strategy. And then you get to talk about what's an investment strategy. Your kids are teenagers at this point, so we're talking about smart kids. Like, we're talking to them about, their future and how they can save the little money that they're earning and just take a little bit of that every single time they get a paycheck and putting it into investing into their future. It's something they can absolutely understand. And talk to them about, target dates. When your account reaches $30,000, you can go on a trip to Europe and only use a third of that, not even half of that to go fund your trip. Give them reward dates. Help them build in to their plan the opportunity to feel the benefit of their long-term investing, so they can realize the longer they leave their money in, the more opportunities they have for larger opportunities and larger explorations of life, right? Okay, number 9. Let them know that they're not alone. You want your kids to be fully independent adults, but you might need to step in to help them from time to time as they veer off their course. Because after all, making poor financial decisions can be an expensive learning experience, but some of us are hard learners. So some of us need to have those horrible experiences to be like, whoa, I understand now. So you want to get them into the habit of asking for help, and then get them into the habit of not being afraid to talk to financial professionals. So many of us were raised with the understanding that we don't talk about money and one person in the family manages it. Let's dispel that myth and let's help our young people in our lives to really talk about, if you have a question and you don't know the answer to, let's not just rely totally on our Googles. Let's go talk to a financial professional and get their opinion. Let's go talk to a couple financial professionals and see how their opinions vary. One might be more suitable, more fitting to where your young person is at this point in time. And then remember, it all starts at home. State governments are taking steps to support financial literacies in schools. Not as much as they should be. There are very few states that are actually doing this. But the Schwab organization wants to remind us that it's slowly coming. However, it is up to us to ensure that our young people and our children and our grandchildren and the young people that surround us know that there is a great opportunity for them in the world of financial growth, financial investment, and wealth building if they only give a moment of their time to understand the long-term effects, the long-term benefits of taking the money that they earn today and investing it for the long term in their future. Even have them talk to other, say, professionals within your world, people who, for example, might have a grandiose investment portfolio. See if they'll give your kids 10 minutes of their time just to sit down and have the conversation about the benefits of looking early on how you can become more financially stable and financially free. Your kids always want to do this. They want to go travel here. My daughter keeps talking about wanting to go on a cruise and doesn't really, quite grasp the concept of what that's going to cost. Time away from, our work, travel, all of the things that go into vacations. So it's something that her and I talk about on a consistent basis so that she can understand it's not just about getting up and going. It's about making sure that you are making the smart financial decisions so that you can get up and go and experience the wonderful world around you. And when you're through with your wonderful global experience, you are not financially in debt because of it. So we just talked about today briefly on 9 concepts to introduce to your kiddos or to the kids around you to how to increase their financial knowledge. And briefly, I'll go over them again real quick. When they're little, introduce the value of money, emphasize savings, introduce them to investing. When they're teenagers, encourage a summer job, introduce them to credit and the idea of positive credit. Consider a Roth IRA as soon as your young person starts having earned income. And then when they're young adults, help them set a budget, understand what that looks like, encourage them to stay invested, let them know that they're not alone. These, I think, are such very important tools that we can offer to our young people. And I felt that we would take a break on our May Money Talks Mastermind program just to set aside an opportunity to talk about this. How to infuse our beautiful children with financial literacy at a level in which they can understand. If you have any questions about this, please feel free to shoot me a DM or send me a message to Vihil at women'sempowermentcoach.us. This was just a brief sidebar to the May Money Talks Mastermind program that we have been sharing during the whole month of May. We have been doing this for the past several years. It's always just a great opportunity to bring together women professionals who have this great knowledge and have dedicated their lives to learning about financial management, wealth building, and sharing it, with you, with the public, with their clients, with, the people around them who might not necessarily understand or be as passionate about financial literacy as they are. So if you know a financial professional in your world and you have these questions on how to start infusing financial literacy on the young people in your life, go talk to them. Start the conversation and bring that young person with you so they don't see it as something scary. They see their financial professionals as, as a person that they can trust and they can go to, who's someone who's going to give them good information. Granted, we can always step back and say, don't accept all the financial information that you get from people. Do your research to make sure that it's sound information. But you can imply that on your children when they get a little bit older. So as for now, you are their guardian of their financial literacy. Help them understand, to learn, to grow, to make these great decisions. So thank you so very much for joining with me today. I am Vihil Vigil, your Women's Empowerment Business and Professional Development Coach. And this was a little sidebar to our May Money Talks Mastermind. So join us again. We will be having another program tomorrow and then the final program will be on the 31st to continue to share with you great information about the world of financial literacy. If you are interested in seeing the previous programs, I will post our Empowerment Empire YouTube channel where all of the videos have been being loaded. So you can like and share and comment and, put more financial literacy information out into the world for so many of the people in our lives that truly, truly need it and can greatly, greatly benefit from it. Have a fantastic rest of your day.